One. Welcome back, 93.7 The Ticket. You're here on the Niko and I podcast, where I have myself an exclusive guest from the University of Nebraska athletic team, so-called the track and field team. Right here is Reed Nelson. Reed, the Nebraska native from Omaha.
Yep.
Omaha. He is part of the high jump team that has been placed within the top three the entire year. I believe they finished number one in the nation as a group ranked. So they live up to very, very high standards. Reed, how you feeling about being on the show today, man?
Feeling pretty well. I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk about our great program.
Well, let's get right into it. As you all know from my previous shows, the first question I'd love to ask all my guests is, why the University of Nebraska?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Omaha, so not too far. I had two brothers also ran here. They were both sprinters, though, no high jumpers. And Nebraska's got a lot of good high jumpers. They're kind of known for it. So I've been able to watch them as I grew up, as my brothers were on the team. So it's a pretty easy decision for me.
No doubt. I actually was on a few 4x4s with his brother, so it was pretty unique being, a part of a team with two guys. This guy killing the high jump, his other brother killing it in the 4 and the 2. So, Reed, let me go ahead and ask you, because I believe in high school, were you a 2-time state champ, 3-time state champ? What were you?
Yeah, so I won high jump twice, my sophomore and my senior year, and then didn't have one my junior year because of COVID. And then I won long jump once. And I think I placed in long jump again, and then in the 200 and 4x1 as well.
So not only was he good in the jumps, as you can see before, he won his sophomore year. He would have won his junior year if not for COVID in 2021. And then goes ahead, wins long jump, and then he's also a 200-meter runner. He didn't mention the time, but he was in the 21s. And for my non-track people out there, 21 is a very elite level, at least for me in the state of Illinois. In the state of Illinois, you run a 21, you're definitely within the top 2 or 3 every single year. So as you guys know, by those times and those accomplishments, and he had a lot of different offers, but he chose to come here at the university. Yes, he had family and friends here, but there's actually somebody very special that I believe he came here for, and that's Coach Dusty Johnson. And we actually had Asher on this, and he gave us a little insight of what it was like to be under Coach Dusty. But can you go ahead and talk about Coach Dusty and what he brings to this Nebraska track and field program?
Yeah, Dusty, great coach, great guy. He was a previous Olympian in high jump. I think he went 7-8 and some change or so. Went to the University of Nebraska, so he breeds Nebraska just like we do. He offers a lot of great insight, and he's probably one of the best coaches that I've met, and I've met a lot of other coaches and programs, and none of them really cared about high jump as much as he does and as much as Nebraska does, really.
Yeah, dude's a straight shooter. I've actually had him on the show, man. He was a great guy, and I'd love to get him in here one day. But, not even just that as a high jumps coach, too, but as a person, man. He's very interesting, very very blunt when he speaks. So, you're never going to get anything but the truth from him, which I love. I really respect that, man. So, Reed, going back into you, accounting major here, junior, we're the same exact age. Me and Reed, we've had a few fun memories. I remember a freshman year in the dorms. We used to basically live together every single weekend. This dude was here sleeping on our couch, messing around, having a good time. So you're an accounting major here, and you do high jump. You're involved in a few different things. Can you go ahead and walk us through what is your biggest day-to-day struggle here at Nebraska as an athlete?
Yeah, I think time management's a big one, especially when we get into season. Trying to figure out accounting major. It's not the most difficult thing in the world, but it definitely has a lot of work to it, and so it's definitely can be a grind. So just determining how your schedule is going to lay out is definitely tough, especially for all athletes. So trying to figure that out, putting summer classes on, doing all that. That's kind of the way to get around it. And most people don't understand what it's like to go through all these meets or games for some people, and it can be a lot. It can be taxing.
No doubt, man, and it's taxing in different ways too. For me, I see a different light. I'm going out there, I'm doing miles. You're going in there, you're doing a lot of technical work. You're doing a lot of plyos. You're in the weight room, you're doing a lot of different lifts than I do. I'm doing a lot more endurance stuff. You're doing a lot more just jumping and explosive work. Can you go ahead and kind of break down what it's like to be a high jumper who jumps? What is your PR? 6'10"?
6'11" and 3/4.
6'11" and 3/4. So this dude's almost jumping 7 feet out here. So can you go ahead and walk us through what is training like? Have you always been a guy who's had bunnies since a young age, or was this something you kind of had to work towards?
Yeah, so training is a little bit different compared to a distance runner or mid-distance sprinter. We are very technical and we're analyzing film a lot. So we have a couple days a week where we're training and we're actually jumping. So those days take 2 hours, 2.5 hours. They can take longer just depending on what we're getting done and how much we're getting done. So that's a lot different compared to some sprinter workouts and stuff like that. And what was the other part again?
I don't know. I think you covered it all.
Yeah, I think I covered it all. It's just a different game, and there's so many different aspects in track, and high jump is a very technical part of it.
No doubt. And as I mentioned before, number one in the nation, under one of the best coaches of all time, who, jumped the number 2 collegiate mark ever back in the year 2008, I believe. So, being under him on a day-to-day basis, and film as well, that's something you mentioned too. I haven't watched film since high school, since football, and I believe you played football as well in high school, correct?
I played basketball, but my freshman year I played football, yeah.
He played basketball, messed around with football a little bit, so he's always had the bunnies. Reed, to go ahead and knock out this podcast, can you kind of dive in to what are your individual goals here at the University of Nebraska? You see, there's a lot of athletes who don't get a lot of recognition, and this is what this podcast is for people and athletes who don't get the same type of publicity as football players, basketball players, or volleyball players. So for everybody out there, I would love for you to share whatever you were comfortable with. What are your goals for the year, and where do you want to be by the time your Nebraska track and field career is over?
Yeah, that's a good question. I try and kind of take goals like week by week, month by month, and try to kind of focus on current goals. So this year, trying to just even PR, just getting maybe a couple inches, an inch higher would be great. And then hopefully working towards a top 10 mark at some time would be fantastic. Other than that, I mean, just winning more Big Ten championships with the team. That was a fun time. So hopefully we can do a few more of those and get some rings for the other fingers.
You heard the man right there. We're trying to get like Tom Brady, man. We want 6 rings on our finger. 7, actually. 7 like the GOAT. So, as you guys heard before, this was Reed Nelson, the Omaha native, 6'11 and 3/4.
Yep.
6'11 and 3/4 PR. Aspirations of making that top 10 list, a county major here at the university. So if you ever see Reed walking around, if you ever have a chance to make it out to a track and field meet, say what's up to him, know his name, recognize him. And we actually just got a notification today that on November 11th at the Maryland football game, the track and field team will be going out there and receiving our Big Ten championship rings. We are super excited and looking forward to that. So stay tuned. We'll give you all the big updates. Reed, this is awesome. Appreciate you coming on the show. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.